joining us live is the former White House Principal Deputy Chief of Staff, Emma Doyle, for a look at today's midterms. Good to see you, Emma. Appreciate your time this morning. So where is all this heading at the moment as we speak? Projections are that the Democrats are likely to lose both houses. Is that your read?
It is. I think it's shaping up to be a very good night for the Republicans.
What will that mean?
That will mean a very difficult next 2 years for Joe Biden and the administration. It'll mean a lot more attention to government spending, to inflation, to crime rates. But it'll definitely mean a challenging end of the first term of the Biden administration.
There is also a growing amount of people who think that money should stop flowing to Ukraine as well. Is that going to gain momentum?
I think it absolutely is, especially in the House of Representatives. We've heard that from a number of candidates and from the possible future Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. So it's not gotten as much traction in the Senate, but I do think that's a distinct possibility. Republicans have historically paid much more attention to issues of fiscal responsibility. I would rather see that spending here at home.
Yeah, when you've got so many issues at home, like you said there. Now, under Donald Trump, what happens in the next week or so? Does he announce that he's running for the White House?
He's certainly giving his base every indication that he's interested in that. But I think at the end of the day, the only person who can tell you what Donald Trump is going to do is Donald Trump. And he seems to like keeping people on the edge of their seats.
I mean, he looms large this election. All you've got to do is look at the candidates that he's endorsed. Most of them are doing well. So where do you think today comes down to?
I think it comes down to national issues and how voters feel they're doing versus how well they were doing 2 years ago. People feel that things have gotten more expensive, crime is on the rise, life has gotten more challenging. And I think that at the end of the day, while candidate quality certainly matters, there's a lot of frustration with the party in charge, and that's unfortunately bad news for Democrats.
Well, the Democrats, they've chosen to go with abortion, to go with democracy, as Biden calls the soul of America. They've decided to go with crime as well. They're kind of steering away from the economy, which is the number one issue at the moment. Is their radar off?
It is. I think it's challenging to try to tell voters how they should feel as opposed to meeting them where they are. And that's the position the Democratic Party has put itself in. I think that issues like abortion motivate a lot of activists and they motivate a lot of people on Twitter. But and some of those people are in blue states that safely traditionally vote Democratic. But it doesn't really motivate as many voters as Democrats may have hoped across a broader swath of the country.
Well, I mean, historically, people vote with their pockets, don't they?
Yes, absolutely.
So what states are you keeping a close eye on today, and where do you think this could well be decided?
I think there are some obvious states that have gotten a lot of attention, like Pennsylvania, my home state, and Georgia. But I think some of the races that are really shaping up to be interesting are races like the New Hampshire Senate race, where Democrats actually spent millions of dollars in the primary to bolster a Republican candidate that they saw as ultra MAGA and thus easier to defeat in a general election. But that race has been pretty much deadlocked in a lot of polling, and I think it really could break for the Republicans. It's still a long shot, but it's a very interesting race to watch. And with polls closing earlier in New Hampshire on the East Coast, it's certainly one that I'll be paying attention to early in the night.
Well, just looking at some of those key states, and you've got some of the most high-profile candidates who are running there. We've got Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania. You've got Herschel Walker as well. I mean, are they likely to get over the line, you think?
I think in Pennsylvania, Dr. Oz does get over the line. I think that unfortunately having an opponent who is struggling with health challenges coming off of a stroke is a challenge for voters to get behind. I don't know that it's that much of a referendum on John Fetterman as a candidate as it is on the need to have a Senate candidate who looks like he's up to the task physically and mentally. But I do think he gets over the line. Georgia's very close. I've seen some polling where Herschel Walker is up, but it certainly could also still go to a runoff. I think we're all hoping for the sake of fewer political ads that it's done sooner, but it's definitely still possible for Herschel Walker to pull it off.
Do you have fears moving forward, and this is if this all just energises Donald Trump and he makes another run back to the White House, and you also served as Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy to the First Lady Melania Trump. Do you have concerns about divisions in America only escalating over the next few years?
I do, and I don't know that I hold Donald Trump responsible for that, but I think we certainly saw that with a lot of the rhetoric over the last 6 years or so, and even in the 2016 campaign. I think that the lines of logic that Democrats used to oppose Donald Trump were frankly the same kind of reasoning they'd used against Republican candidates like Mitt Romney and John McCain. Every Republican candidate for president has been called the worst, most divisive, fascist candidate. And I think it's catching up with Democrats that when you keep telling voters who you want them to believe candidates are instead of letting them decide for themselves, they may make a different choice.
All right, Emma Doyle, we'll leave it there. Appreciate it. Busy day for you, no doubt. Thanks for your time this morning. We'll talk to you soon.